Hello, this is Old School with WhatTheBuck.net coming to you with our Detroit Lions preview game. The Bucs are precariously close to must-win for the rest of the season with the way the NFC is shaping up. It looks like 11 wins is what we're going to need, and that's going to include a win against New Orleans at the end of the year in New Orleans, and that won't even guarantee us a playoff spot. But this week we have to worry about the Detroit Lions, who, despite their 3 wins, are a much more formidable opponent than one might think. They come in statistically ranked similarly to us, with the only difference really being the number of wins, and they ended up getting a win against the Green Bay Packers last week with Aaron Rodgers going out with a concussion, ended up winning the game 7-3. And when I went back and watched the tape, what I see is a front four that is absolutely ferocious, and it's not just Ndamukong Suh, but Corey Williams at the other tackle position is playing great football, and the ends that they rotate in are all getting terrific pressure. Now, the rest of that defense, the back seven, if you will, largely replaceable, it would seem, and maybe it's just my lack of knowledge about Detroit, and I apologize to any Detroit fans out there, but when I looked at the tape, the things that popped were those front four and the pressure that they got, the havoc that they wreaked. You know, you look at the stats on this from a sack perspective, and we talk about this ratio. I use Pro Football Focus for my stats on this. We talk about sacks, hits, and pressures. Right, those three as a triumvirate, I think, are important. Now, the Bucs, not particularly impressive. 21, 35, and 103 are the 3 data points. The Lions come in here 39, 43, and 125. They've gotten the quarterback 39 times. They've got 3 players with 6 or more sacks, including Ndamukong Suh, number 2 overall pick, which, of course, this was the much ballyhooed matchup of Ndamukong Suh and Gerald McCoy, which is not going to be the case now with Gerald McCoy blowing out his bicep. We won't get a chance to see him. Now, on the defensive side of the ball for the Bucs, we're in a revolving door situation right now, whether it's going to be Michael Bennett, whether they're going to move Roy Miller over to that 3 technique spot. We're going to see some of Frank Oakham coming in here, 350-pound run stopper. It's going to be a testament to Raheem Morris and his defensive staff if they can get something put together with this makeshift front line to stop anybody. And you're talking about a Detroit Lions run game with Javid Best and Maurice Morris that came in here, or came in against the Green Bay Packers and put up some pretty big yards. They don't look that impressive, but they just compile stats. So with the way we got gashed by terrain last week, this is going to be a serious challenge for us. So you can't just think we're going to walk away with this, even though I think it's a 5.5-point spread, and the Lions haven't accumulated a lot of wins. They were using a very similar formula. They had a great young quarterback, or a promising young quarterback, who's injured. We're going to see Drew Stanton this week. Drew Stanton is a converted running back, and he looks just like a converted running back. His passes lacked accuracy last week. His decision-making was poor. He does like to run the ball. They don't have a lot behind him. They got Zach Robinson behind him. They don't want him to get hurt, right? So while the running backs don't look that great on tape, they put up the numbers. They're going to move the ball down the field, and they've always got Calvin Johnson, Megatron, out there on the outside, who is a mismatch for anyone on the field. So when you look at the game plan, our Bucs defense has got to get to Drew Stanton, got to disrupt what he's doing, and I look to see us play some underneath coverage and try and force Stanton to go over the top, and that's when our safeties are going to have to really play some good ball. Corey Lynch and Sean Jones are going to have to step up this week once Detroit does go to the passing game. So keys to the game for us this week, we've got to run the ball, whether it's LeGarrette Blount or Cadillac Williams. When you have a defensive front that's that fast and that aggressive, you've got to try and slow them down somehow. You can do that with running the ball. I've long believed, and long here being a relative since LeGarrette Blount's come to the team, he runs better around the end than he does in the middle despite his size. So I think you get him outside a little bit, outside the tackle. You use some crackbacks from the tight end or from the receiver in motion. Get him to the edge and let him get a little bit of space, because if he can get past that front four, he can do some serious damage. The other thing you can use against that sort of an upfield pressure that this Detroit Lions defense gets is the screen game. What used to be a staple of this offense and the West Coast offense, use the screen game, the drag routes behind it, whether it's K2 or whether it's Gilmore or Sammy Stroud out of the slot. We've got to let that defense get upfield and throw the ball back behind it. Another place where Ernest Graham can really kind of make some money as well, coming out of the backfield, chipping, and then going to the flat. This is a place where we can get the rest of that defense to have to suck up some and go to that single deep safety look that the Detroit Lions implement quite regularly. They bring another guy up in the box just like we do. The problem is they make it pretty obvious when they do. The Packers tried to take advantage of them. Took 2 shots that I saw when I was looking at the film. One, Jennings threw back to a Detroit Lion for an interception. The other one, Aaron Rodgers just missed badly. This is a chance where Josh will take his shots, and I think Josh will have do a good job of making that happen. We've got to protect Josh from this line. You do that with moving the pocket a little bit. He can't just step up. They get too much pressure from those tackles. There's not going to be a pocket for him to step up, especially when you look at Suh and Williams going against Larson, Zuda, and Hardman. Again, not a slight to those gentlemen. They're playing very well instead of the starters that they're replacing. But this is a heck of a defensive middle going against some guys that don't have a whole lot of experience there. It's going to be a mismatch. We're going to have to give them some help by moving things around, and we can't let that defense just pin their ears back and blow up through the center. We're going to have to loop around, use some waggles, use some boot options, whatever we have to pull out of that bag of tricks, we're going to have to do it, because we're not going to be able to just sit back in the pocket and try and throw the ball. So I do think the Bucs are going to be able to pull it out. I think that it's a game where Cadillac Williams can have a big game. Cadillac coming out of the backfield, catching some passes, the screens behind that defensive line, getting him into the second level, I think could be a big game. Not to say that Garrett can't have a big game too, but I don't see him as a receiver yet, even though he says he can catch. We haven't had that opportunity to see it yet. And I do think Corey Lynch could do some things for us this week. Corey and Sean are going to be the ones that are going to have to step up. Stanton's balls tend to drift. He's not stepping into him. He's not particularly accurate. I think we're going to go underneath and force him to go over the top, and when they do, we're going to have to take advantage of it. Got to protect the football, get a win. I think the Bucs can do that this week in Tampa. Hopefully you like this video. Let me know what you think about it, and we'll see you guys for a wrap-up and then a pregame video for next week.